All right, good morning, Professor and classmates. I am attempting to do this via my phone since my front-facing camera is not working. This week we're covering military installations and their environmental resource protections. And for this, I've chosen Fort Cavazos, Texas, formerly Fort Hood, Texas. Chose this because it's largest military installation close to where I live in Houston, and Uncle was stationed there when he was a lieutenant colonel, so why not? Um, Moving on to the questions, are you surprised at the number or type of regulations addressed? Why or why not? Looking at the policy, there were 58 laws and regulations. Everything from the Department of Defense, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, Secretary of Interior, EPA. No, I wasn't surprised by how many there were. Environmental law and policy is a constantly growing and an evolving thing. There are policies such as Lacey Act in there from 1900, prevents trafficking of illegal wildlife. Fort Cavazos itself was founded in 1942, just prior to the U.S. involvement in World War II, so it's not surprising that since then they have had a lot of policies. Are there some that you are surprised to see on this list? Yeah, there were a few that I was surprised to see. Like I said, it's quite an extensive list. Some of the more surprising ones was conservation of pollinators. Surprised to see that on a list. It's not something I see a lot of when it comes to environmental policy, and it's something I really enjoy. Here in Texas, I actually have my own pollinators. Official insect of the state of Texas, the monarch butterfly, so I like to grow milkweed and support them. The Cave Resource Protection Act, I was surprised to see also. I'd never actually heard of this policy, and I'll cover that in my next question. And also protection of fossils on federal lands was another policy on there that I was surprised to see. Are there any that I'm not familiar with? Again, this is the Cave Resource Protection Act I had never heard of. This is 16 USC 4301. Caves on federal lands are an invaluable and irreplaceable part of the nation's national heritage. This act is to secure, protect, preserve significant caves on federal lands for the I can't even read my own handwriting. Use, enjoyment, and benefit of all people. I did kind of look at it. There are a few cavern systems and around the Fort Cavazos area, so that was very interesting to see that included in their policy, and I'm glad to see it. Are there any environmental issues you can think of that do not seem to be addressed by the list? No. I saw Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act. There's policies for protections from wildfire, Invasive Species Act, flood plans, migratory birds, hunting and fishing, endangered species, wetland protection. It really looks like with, like I said, they've got policies dating back to 1899, 1900. Looks like they're doing pretty well at covering their basics and even going above and beyond some of them. They've got Endangered Species Act, but they also single out things like the golden eagle, bald eagle protections. So it's very good to see that they're covering their basics, but they're also narrowing it down with some of the more endangered species. If state rules and regulations are not mentioned on your site, why do you think that is? Should they be? They are not mentioned from the list that I saw. This is, of course, federal land, and it's covered by federal policies. However, should they be? Yeah, I think they should. Like, this is federal land, but it is still in the state of Texas. Scientists concerned with species and environmental protections specific to the state of Texas that write environmental policies for the state of Texas should be involved. They know more about the state than the people writing federal policy. and that kind of specialized insight I think is necessary. Environmental policy can't be done with such a broad stroke. They can say, just like how they've got bald eagle protection written into their policies, that's a federal policy, but there might be evolving policies and protections that need to be updated specific to the state of Texas, and that should be updated with Fort Cavazos and not just waiting on federal laws and regulations to be written. What other observations or questions do you have after doing this? It was pretty difficult to find these policies inside of the INRMP. I looked across 5 or 6 different installations, most of the ones that I've been to: Fort Hood, Fort Joint Base Lewis McChord, Air Force Joint Base San Antonio, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Some of them were as small as 24 pages. Fort Cavazos was 222 pages. Not a lot of standardization in these reports. Could make doing research for some of them pretty extensive. That's but probably not a lot of people researching these things across every U.S. military installation. That would be a dissertation. So it's not surprising that there is no standardization, as long as the information is there if you're looking for it. It does take some digging. It's a little annoying, but it's research. With that being said, that's pretty much everything, and look forward to your comments.